Yo, what's up guys? Quick video on drop rates. We all know that the drop rates have recently been buffed, but let's actually look at the numbers and see like how much they have been buffed. Also, I do know that there's a lot of people asking me like, okay, can you share me the settings of this kind of stuff? Well, to be honest, I've only been farming pretty much R5 and after that artifacts, and I haven't been going into runes ever since this update. The moment that I'll go into runes, I'll probably make a video on this as well. But I would say that this is very good for artifact farming because you know the plus 12. It's not that great for rune farming because, well, you can exclude a lot of like the shitty sets that are not Swift, Will, Despair, and Vio. But Swift, Will, Despair, and Vio, you kind of want to roll everything. Like even the 4 crit rate can become a 22 crit rate and then be useful. So you don't know the plus 12 and therefore it's not that interesting. But however, for artifacts, it is very easy to actually use this thing and then just exclude a lot of artifacts. So actually, I do want to emphasize people farm artifacts because 99% of the accounts I log into and they're like, oh, what should I focus on? Artifacts. Simple as that. But let's actually go into the core of this video, which is going to be into the data of these dungeons. I'm only going to be checking Giants and then R5 and then Steel Fortress because Giants is the same as Dragons and Necro, I assume. And from there, we're just going to see like what are the differences. So this is filtered on Giants B12 or well, Giants App is hard. And then we are going from the 1st of November until the 14th of November. The patch hit on the 15th of November, so that's where we should see the difference. So we used to have close to 60% on the heroes, so 58.6, and then legendaries were 4.3, which, and intangibles is 4.4. So let's see if we go into this one. Intangibles 4.5, not that much increase, but we see a big increase over here. So hero-wise, it didn't increase that much. Hero-wise is like 2% up. But legendary went up like a good 6%. That is actually insane. That is a really big improvement for the drop rate on legendary. So the amount of heroes is the same. Well, pretty much a little bit higher, but they also removed everything from the rares, which we pretty much insta sell, and they put all of that to legendary. So you're gonna get a lot and a lot more legendaries on those. Let's see if they actually improved any of the drop rates on these as well. Wait. Funny enough, the quantity of this used to be a 1 to 7, and now it's a 1 to 6, but the average per 100 is still the same. Interesting. So these all look pretty much similar numbers. You're not going to get more or less mystical scrolls. It shows a little bit less mystical scrolls, but it could just be just the number of like fluctuation at that point. Amount of mana and everything is about this. No, yeah, the amount of mana... Funny enough, the amount of mana that you can get on this one is a lot higher here, but the average per 100 is still the same. So that's kind of funny that how they up that, but it's still averaging the same. Crystals about same, energy about same, shape-shifting stones a little bit up. It's probably just fluctuation of the numbers in this case. We do see a little bit more in these two. Could be, well, those are like a good 5% up, so that might actually be something that it's actually more. But yeah, the biggest take on the Giants and then also the Dragons and the Necro is that you're gonna get a lot more legendary. So, and that's pretty much like a close to 2.5% or like 2.5 times as much because it's 6% more from 4.3. That's really a big increase. So then we're going to look at R5. R5, once again, looking at the data from 1st of November. And then the other one, we're looking at the data from 16th of November until today. What do we see over here? Well, first of all, let's look at legendary rate. So we had legendary rate at 4.452 on the hero. What do we have after that? Pretty much the same on legendary rate. So getting legendary grinds is as difficult before and after. We do see a kind of a jump in heroes and a little bit of decrease in rare. So I thought they also upgraded the legendary drop rate from grinds, but apparently not. But the main thing they actually did upgrade are the beast claws and the beast horns. So we used to get them like, literally this thing was not picking them up. I actually know the guy that made Swar Farm, really chill guy, always helps me with like these updates of like these kind of videos and everything that's like coming up pretty soon. I'm like, yo, why are you not showing beast horns? I'm like, yeah, I'm excluding everything that's below like 0.01%. I'm like, Or like zero, yeah, I think it was 0.1%. Like everything below that I was excluded. So this thing was just straight up excluded because the drop rate was just that terribly low. So yeah, we had about 1% on this, and then we had like 1 in 2,000 matches, you get this. What is the drop rate on that right now? That is a lot more, and really a lot more. It literally went 3.5 times as much for the Beast Claws, and we went double on the Beast Horn. So that does make sense. Like, we're still not seeing a lot of Beast Horns, like barely any. I feel like because Beast Claws, they can actually give you legendary gems or grinds as well. I feel like I'm getting more legendary gems or grinds from Beast Horns or Beast Claws than I get from the Beast Horns, in all honesty. Like, I'm not sure if you guys feel the same about that, but Beast Horns, the drop rate could still be a little bit higher because this is still like 1 in like freaking 1,000. Like, that's, you're barely gonna get those drop, man. But this number is definitely like a very chill, nice number where you do get a lot of that stuff all the time. Is it that the amount of grinds? Well, also with the previous patch, that is actually true. Did they not remove like the amount of... Yeah, they removed... Ah, okay, okay. So technically this looks like, okay, you're still getting the same amount of legendaries. It's not entirely true because they remove mana as a drop. So you used to get 12% mana as a drop. That is completely removed right now, and that is that also distributed through the others? No, like shape-shifting stones is about same. I would say that this is same. Mystical scrolls went down, could be the fluctuation of numbers, but okay. And then these and these went up. So technically you're getting this, like if you're getting a drop of a grindstone, it is like still the same amount of chance of getting a legendary, but you're getting like 12% more grindstones, technically, I guess. Like, not entirely sure if that's... Yeah, you could see that here. Like, now you get grindstones like 91% of the time, or close to 91, and it used to be 81% of the time. So, yeah, the mana drop rate, that 12%, this whole pie chart is just like out of here. So that's very chill. We're always getting mana on this right now. It's not showing like how much mana we get if that's actually equal to this. But that's also doesn't really matter. I do notice that for selling the grinds that you have right now, the blue grinds and all of that stuff, you get so much more mana in R5. Like before when I was doing R5, R5 was the only thing, if I was actively farming R5, that was lowering my mana pool. If I'm doing R5 right now, I started increasing mana pool quite some as well, because at some point you just grinded everything and then you just start selling a lot of them, and the selling price is higher. You always get mana rather than like a random mana drop. So R5 is giving mana for me right now. Sure, on like lower end accounts where you have to grind everything, it's still more expensive, but R5 is definitely good for mana now as well. So definitely a good boost in that. But I would still like to see like Beast Horns, they are that rare and it's that hard to still get legendaries that I would maybe say like up this a little bit more. What do you guys think? Like, I think that's probably like a nice thing. But I really love those because Beast Claws, I always use, like I told it in a previous video as well, I always use Beast Claws to go for gems. So I don't get grinds on those because getting hero grinds is not that hard. You get a shit ton of hero grinds. But getting hero gems from a specific type is a lot harder. So I always throw all of my Beast Claws towards the gems that I need. Could be Swift, could be Fire, could be Despair, could be Will. Any of those. And I just start doing like a bunch of them, because if you farm quite some R5, at some point you have like, I had like 100 of Beast Claws like 2-3 times. And then the moment I start grinding my stuff, it's like, oh, I need a gem. I just throw in 10, 10, 10 until I get like the HP percent Vio gem that I need. Does it work on like a 10 or 11? What I'm aiming for, not okay, I throw more Beast Claws in. Does it go for the 10 or 11? Okay, I stop and I keep the rest of like the 40, 50 Beast Claws, something like that. So was using it like that. And I definitely think that Beast Claws are a really nice addition. Beast Horns, I still tend to use on grinds, because getting grinds like the legendary specifically, like I don't need to max out legendary gem, but I kind of want to max out legendary grind. So therefore, the number of legendary grinds that we get in R5, I would still say is somewhat on the lower side, because in all honesty, for where I'm at in the game, I don't really give that much shit about hero grinds. And the main thing that a lot of people are still asking for, like, if you have like a Swift legendary grind, you don't want it to roll 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 and 4. It should be something nice that if you rolled a 4 before, the next time it's a 5, or at least it's a higher chance of getting a 5. So something like stupid like that would be very nice that you cannot, like I heard some people that's like, oh, I'm trying to get my Swift grind on this like 28 speed slot 1 Swift, and I threw in 10 legendary Swift grinds and it's still +4. Like that kind of shit is very annoying. You could get very unlucky with that, and it would be nice if you have somewhat of like a recurring factor that at some point, like every time you try that, the next try has like a slightly higher chance of landing it. It's not a 50-50 anymore, but it's a 60-40, and the next time it's a 70-30, and then it's an 80-20 or something like that. Would definitely be nice. Let me know in the comments if you think that is fair or that would be too OP, but I definitely think it's nice. And what you can also see a lot with all of these updates from ComToUs is before they were always like very scared, like, ooh, if we make things a lot easier right now, are we gonna piss off like all players? Well, all players are happy with it as well. Like, sure, it's easier to catch up, it's easy to get on our level and that kind of stuff. But from what I've heard so far, everyone is happy with all of those updates to make things easier. So they're not really pissing off anyone. So I think they're doing a good job of like getting these kind of things more in. And I would definitely say that with those grinds, like upping the grind numbers and also like, or upping the value if you do multiple of them, same with like gems and that kind of stuff, I think would definitely be nice. Because for me specifically, I had like not a lot, but for Ancient Will, I threw in legendary speeds for like 4 or 5 or 6, and all of them rolled like 4 or 5. And none of them got a 6. But then I go on accuracy and they're all roll 6. I'm like, I don't want that on Will. So yeah, that kind of stuff would definitely help out, that you get a little bit more consistently in, like, okay, if you did multiple of them, you're gonna get there at some point, like a pity system. Last one to look at is going to be the artifact dungeon, and I think artifact dungeons right now are super chill to farm. Definitely everyone I highly recommend to farm artifacts for. Let's just say like go for the SF dungeon 2 weeks to like a month. And then the moment that PC is released, go 2 weeks to a month from that one as well. And then you don't have to farm artifacts for another year plus, probably. So definitely highly recommend people to do that because everyone is really lacking on those artifacts. I do have a whole bunch of lists of like tutorials or whatever, like guides of like what artifacts should you look out for, that kind of stuff. TLDR on those, you want to look for anything that's triple rolled, high rolled, or double roll high with one roll on something else that has lines that are kind of like cohesive and work together. So that's kind of like the TLDR on those. So first of all, I think I didn't. Oh wait, for this one I was like, oh, I didn't select the date ranges yet. But the date ranges actually don't matter anything because it's just B10 compared to B2 in this case. So the abyss against the other one. So let's see what we have for drop rate. So we used to have legendary drop rate of artifacts on 3, and we had heroes on 38.1. If we go to the wow, that's this 60 becomes 27.4. So definitely heroes is a lot higher. Legendaries is a good amount more as well. It's like ×2 and a little bit. But especially the heroes. And I was just talking to Swift, and he was actually mentioning that as well, and I was noticing that too. Legendary artifacts are very hard to roll in like the good lines. Whereas if you get hero artifacts, it's pretty easy to get like the double roll and then one roll on something else, it's a good artifact. Or the triple roll and then a decent high roll, it's a good artifact. So I noticed that a lot of the hero artifacts are so much easier to get to like good stats than the legendary artifacts. But still, getting this many more artifacts on legendary is very useful. That's absolutely something that's very chill to see. This one is, however, an improvement of you have to spend 1 extra energy to get like the run finished. Let's also see like how that works out for these numbers. Is about the same for everything. So yeah, they pretty much kept the same for everything on that. I would say that because you're spending 1 extra energy, it would maybe be fair to get like slightly higher on the conversion stones, because I do notice getting those in is, yeah, that's like, I want to get more of those. Like at some point I'm just farming artifacts to get more of those, to grind in that specific, or to gem out or enchant or whatever it's called on this one, that specific one line that I want to get in. We also have intangibles right now. Let's actually see what are the numbers of intangible. Intangible is 0.6. That is very low though, but I would say intangible is very nice, but the big issue with intangible right now is you cannot grind in another stat. You like intangible is as is. So it would be nice if you can maybe use the double cost of conversion stones to change intangibles as well or something like that. would be nice that you can at least change your intangible, because your intangible is always going to end up like, let's say you get a legendary intangible, which the odds are very low, that suddenly has good stats, and you want to grind out that one line that doesn't make any sense of like crit damage reduction or something like that, because that one is just terrible. Then it would be pretty nice if you could say like, okay, I use some extra conversion stones. It's a little bit higher on the cost, but at least I can remove it to put in like a crit damage line, a reduction from like another element damage line or anything like that. So yeah, all in all, we have pretty good improvements. I would definitely say the legendary drop rate on Giants, Dragons, Necro is really improved. On R5, it's mainly the Beast class that is highly improved. A Beast class improved, and you're no longer getting mana. Those are the big improvements on R5. And for this one, I would definitely say that the improvement is that you're getting a lot more heroes rather than a lot of rares, because all rares are more or less useless. And heroes are very useful for artifacts. You don't really need legendary artifacts. It's better to have like good lines, like cohesive lines on a hero artifact that all work together, than some legendary artifact line that went like 2 and 2, and one line is like, yeah, it's high efficient, but it's not really working. So yeah, definitely very good improvements. Still a few improvements that I could say like, okay, here are small points that I could maybe see some improvements. Like for example, the intangible artifacts on this, the conversion stones slightly up on this. Maybe the beast horns a little bit up on this. Maybe this legendary rate a little bit up as well. Or if you keep the legendary rate, at least give like a pity system that if I rolled a 4 before, that the next like on a speed legendary, that the next time to have a chance to get the speed legendary to a 5 is like high, something like that. But I would say definitely very good improvements, and I'm definitely looking forward what they have in store for. Well, we have the December month coming right now. It's the 6th of December as of recording this video, also posting this video. December month always has the most crazy pack out there, and mostly like a pretty crazy event, so definitely looking forward to those. And then we're getting close to the 10th anniversary events. So I'm definitely looking forward to what they have in store for the 10th anniversary event. And they've been on a good track with very good events with like the Fever event and that kind of stuff. So let's see what they have in store for us. And I definitely do think that on quality of life changes and update changes with like 30x farming, they're really on a good track, and I really hope they set that stuff forward. The only thing that we're slightly disappointed about in recent day and ages is the balance patch. Like, we expected like, yo, you're flipping everything on the game right now. Everyone is loving that stuff. And then the balance patch was like, it was there. That's about it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Lots of rambling on that kind of stuff. Maybe you learned a thing or two, or at least maybe you have like an idea of like, oh, maybe I want to farm that right now because it's so much better. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, and see you as always in the next one. And if you haven't yet, like and subscribe, because that definitely tells YouTube that we're out there, and it helps to grow the channel and for me to make more content. See you, boys.